father committed suicide because he couldn't handle knowing that he gave birth to them.
What?
He gave birth to that? He helped create that. He didn't give birth to that. Poor script writing. Poor performances. You'd think that an actor would pull up over Boll and go, that doesn't make sense. That's really stupid. By the way, that is terrible script writing. And a terrible line. So far, I'm watching Rampage 3 and I'm fucking hating it. It's over-reliance on, I won't even call them actors, Hallmark Channel actors, terrible actors, non-entity actors. It's spending less time on Bill Williamson, and that's why there's an issue, because the greatest actor is Brendan Fletcher, and without Brendan Fletcher, this is just another Uwe Boll direct-to-DVD shitfest. Hi guys, Zach here, one half of Articulate Warbling, doing my solo round session again, and this is my review for the third Rampage film. So far, I've loved Uwe Boll's Rampage movies, so I went into this with high expectations. Those expectations were quickly dispelled and dissolved and burnt in an acidic bath made by Heisenberg himself. Throughout this movie, I've documented my thoughts. Such potent, powerful, emotive, passionate thoughts that I had to document them in the moment. And the film's not even finished. I have more interesting things to say about this movie than the film does itself. So, this is going to be one fucking messy ass movie review. Documentation, stream of consciousness type review. Bill Williamson is back. He's no longer a masturbator. Nutter thingamajig. No, Bill Williamson is back, and he's not only a mass shooter now, he is a terrorist, he is a threat to society. And in a society, you got to shoot people and blow people up. I get the whole mentality of anti-establishment, anti-government stuff, and I've droned on and on and on in some semi-half attempt to justify the existence of these films, but I can't justify the existence of Rampage 3. I just can't. It's awful. Awful. Terrible acting, terrible script, dull as dishwater, dull as a rich tea biscuit. Saying that rich tea biscuit's quite nice dipped in sugary coffee. This whole movie is a shitfest, and I can't really give you a linear review. I can only give you a sporadic, episodic, fragmentary, almost commentary on the issues. So what follows is that. Me commenting up on the footage that I've just watched, footage that has stuck with me. So yeah, enjoy this messy movie review.
But you can't say the fucking black guys that are in jail aren't there for a reason. Am I racist?
Somewhat.
It's not fucking racist, it's just the truth.
Oh, look at all this police brutality. How's that justified? You see it on the internet every day.
Because everyone's fucking scared.
Yeah, but
everyone's scared.
Just because you're scared of someone doesn't give you the fucking right to gun somebody down unarmed in cold blood, shooting them in the back.
I agree.
It's no different what he does.
It's very different. He kills innocent people. He walks down the street with
So are the police.
AK. I'm sorry, what
Do I agree with everything he's doing? No. But his basic message, I can find some truth in it.
His basic message is not what he's actually physically doing. He's out there killing innocent people.
He's a psychopath.
He's killing innocent people.
Think our government is any different?
What's interesting is instead of getting on his high horse and putting out a rantastic breakdown of the inherent issues and flaws in America, Uwe Boll instead translates that into his Rampage films in monologues for Brendan Fletcher or sub-supporting characters to monologue, espouse. The issue being, it isn't compelling. It just feels like subpar actors reading what Uwe Boll wishes to articulate himself. But once that camera's on Uwe, he seems to struggle under the weight of clarity, precision, articulacy, moral ambiguity, and not to fall into that hot-headed, I'm gonna punch Michael Bay in the face temper. These scenes would be compelling if it was part of a better shot, better executed movie. I don't know what's going on, but this movie is terribly lit, terribly shot, and the nature of making it, in the sense of seat of your pants, it lacks everything that made the first two work. And the majority of this movie zeroes in on reusing footage from previous movies and have other characters commenting upon it. I understand the angle, but it's not compelling, especially when you have non-entity, bad actors, weak script writing, bad justification for the eventual coming of Bill Williamson in another Rampage. And though he tackles the current times that this movie is made within, issues, commentary, sociological, political, all that jazz, it just seems a bit off. Seems like it's run its course. Anyone can write a monologue, anyone can document and journalise their internal thoughts and then push it out and make it part of a piece of art. But when it is dependent upon it being a filmic piece of art, you've got to be very strategic and specific where and whom you give those lines to. You could give a piece of shit line to the greatest of actors and they'll carry it off and pull it off, and then another time you'll have a guy like this guy, you give him all of those lines to try and personify issues with people of whom may be unconsciously biased, unconsciously racist, the emblem of what American, the emblem of what's fucking wrong with the world. What's wrong with the justifications, the lies, the fake news, the indoctrination? You give lines like this to this guy, who looks a little bit like he's been created in a Photoshop or free online app that you get on Galaxy Samsung. It doesn't work. The issue being inherent in this film is it hasn't got the budget to stretch to the levels that Uwe Boll wishes it to be. Bill Williamson as a character has upped his game. And it doesn't mean he's upped his game in a body count sense, but he's upped his game in missions, what agendas, what he is about to do. He has upped the ante, going from simply rampaging, killing people in a hail of bullets and bombs. The next one, he had a strategized plan to get onto international news. Like some of these films, you have to suspend your disbelief, but this movie that is trying to have us believe that a top crack team of individuals are looking into the death in Washington, D.C. of the president. The operation be bigger than a couple of people and one computer whiz. And then the kind of pressure and media pressure and omnipresence would be more than just, well, what you're about to watch.
So what's going on?
No comment.
Do you have any suspects? Come on, we're in the dark here. The American people deserve to know. Do you have any leads? Any news at all, just a statement. Come on. Your silence is very unnerving.
Wouldn't it be a whole flurry of people? The extent to this worldwide atrocity, there would be bigger implications and media pressure and presence, pressurising people behind the death of a president rather than this small, close-knit unit who seem to be resembling a team looking into a car theft rather than the death of the president. Dumb and dumber. Why have they got careers? Why are they here? Why? Uwe Boll hates Michael Bay because Uwe Boll really believed that he could have reached the heights that Bay has done in his career. A lot of what Uwe Boll does visually and action-wise, Michael Bay does, but on a higher, fucking higher level. A whole other plane of cinematic existence. Uwe Boll is just butthurt. He was given the opportunities and the budgets to do something on a Bay level, and he scarpered it. So instead, he is reliant on desperate financiers or equally as maladjusted producers who can make a fucking bucket load of money off of small productions like this. His smaller movies are always better because he can pull off that of which he sets his sights on doing. He can pull off more with lower budgets because it's more honed in and around the style, the aesthetic, the cut, the rhythm, and the reality of the pieces he makes. I wouldn't say that his movies are ultra realistic. It's not realistic at all, but pitted within the real life realms, our world. Whereas, as I've mentioned before, his fantasy stuff, he can't attain those heights because he hasn't got the budget for it, and he isn't given the budget for it because people don't trust him and don't believe in him. And I still do think that the guy, takes half of the money intended for this, all the German tax breaks, Canadian tax breaks, and puts it in his pocket, and it doesn't go onto the screen. And this is very evidential with Rampage. Rampage 3, which is made like 2 years after the other one, and it's a completely, tonally different movie. Not in its intent and purpose. It's just terribly made. There's at least an hour's worth of exposition that goes nowhere, led by really bad actors. This is hardly Brendan Fletcher's movie, and there's so many different things thrown into here in relation to the character. You know, the guy is sick, he is twisted, but he seems more megalomaniacal, more crazed, less savvy, and seems almost want to get a rise out of the establishment, but he plays it to a crazed, megalomaniacal, deluded degree, more so than previously. There's always been a good tonal balance with Fletcher's performances, but for someone who's able to pull off such feats on a almost unlimited technological budget, to hack into, you know, the Federal Bureau of Investigation's computers, to even get within a walking distance with a gun of killing the president. This strategy and this savvy is sometimes often not correlated with the boastful character that Brendan Fletcher is playing. I just feel like all of it has run its course now, and this is working on the most limited budget of all of the 3 Rampage films. Do I like it? No, I fucking hate it. It is a travesty. Everything that's wrong with Uwe Boll as a director is kind of personified here. It had so much to give. Also, character depths go... Bill ends up with a wife, a partner, and a child in this world, and it's hinted upon. There's not much context behind it. Well, I know that there's like crazy women in this world who like become pen pals with serial killers or murderers on the inside for some weird ego kick and because they're messed up. But why would someone of whom this girlfriend, who seems to come from a good background and good standing in society, what would be appealing for being in a relationship with a guy who's on the run, hiding? And what's the point of having a child when Bill's agenda and manifesto and terrorist acts and anarchy is about cleansing world population? He might as well just put a gun to that baby's head and shoot it. There's so many character developments that kind of veto everything that we've been told and almost killed and ushered and conned into believing is, though crazy and wrong, relatable. And all that ideology and such, and the purpose is contradicted by bad writing. So this gets 0 stars in the action. I'm going, non-existent watch. Yeah. Is it over? Yeah, not a good film. I don't recommend Rampage 3, and I think Uwe Boll needs to either make another one that rectifies all of the flaws in this one, or just not return to directing at all. I really wanted to, you know, be the guy who champions Uwe Boll, but it's difficult when the guy can't champion the crew around him, can't even champion himself. He's so uncertain and insecure. He puts on that whole bravado and that whole manic-eyed German doctor. He's got a doctorate in German literature, pushing that now. Dr. Uwe Boll. You've done so much damage to your career so far, you know. Can you really redeem yourself unless you went out and made a really good film and atoned for his cinematic sins? But no, I don't recommend Rampage President Down. It is awful.